Fellow lads, we're back on our Netflix Daredevil series retrospective. In the last couple of weeks, we took a look at the amazing highs of Season 1, the issues, but still highs of Season 2, and today, finally, we're taking a look at Daredevil Season 3.
The last season before we get Daredevil Born Again, the rebooted Disney Plus show, but does Season 3 stick the landing? Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Together we're the Comic Lads, and today we're completing our Daredevil retrospective series. But before we get into it, guys, question of the week. What are your thoughts on Season 3? Where does it compare to the other seasons? Let us know in the comments down below.
Absolutely. And before we get into it, guys, don't forget to smash the like button.
Smash it.
And consider subscribing. Become one with the Comic Lads. So Daredevil Season 3 is very interesting because Seasons 1 and 2 follow directly into one another, but Season 3 is actually a follow-up to the Defenders show. You know what? All I'm going to say is the Netflix series and that whole universe, even though it's part of the MCU.
Technically now.
Iron Fist just, like, literally fisted it, like,
Oh my
all
God.
over the place. Like, he was by far the worst part of this universe.
That show was awful.
I'm the immortal Iron Fist, weapon of Kunlun.
Absolutely doggy doo-doo.
And then, you know, like, the Defenders show was, like, basically just an Iron Fist follow-up with the other characters in the background.
By the way, guys, if you do want another retrospective on Defenders, we will put on our freaking, like, hazmat suits and wade through that filth. But by the end of Defenders, the big climax involves
Elektra coming back to life and, like, taking over the hand.
taking over the hand, and Daredevil ends up kind of sacrificing himself, and the whole building around the hand's, like, base comes down around him and Elektra.
And she dies again.
And Season 3 of Daredevil picks up, and it's revealed that Matt actually survived it.
No way! He's alive for his third season coming out after his death?
Somehow he survived it and Elektra didn't. I mean, an entire building literally caves around them. Like, it doesn't really make much sense.
Somehow Daredevil returned.
Actually, yeah. And Season 3 is actually starts off pretty uniquely because unlike Seasons 1 and 2 where he starts off on like a high of being either Matt Murdock or Daredevil.
Yeah. It's at his lowest.
Yeah, he's at his absolute lowest in the beginning of Season 3. And so for the first few episodes, he's actually rebuilding his physical and mental strength at this convent where he grew up while he was orphaned.
Yeah, and it's revealed that the nun that's taking care of him is actually Maggie, his mom.
Which I think is a great little twist. But Maggie is a very good addition, I think, to this show and to the overall lore of his TV universe. It's not revealed at first that she's the mom.
Yeah, but like you can tell that, like, there's so much maternal instincts and like tension there that when it's revealed, you're like, yeah.
The whole character arc and journey that Matt goes on this season, much like Seasons 1 and 2 but further exaggerated, is he fully puts his personal life as Matt Murdock aside.
Yeah, and he actually like believes that he can't have it in this season. Like, he's like, no, I literally, I don't deserve / can't have loved ones or friends. Like, I'm only gonna be Daredevil.
Matt, straight off the bat, is like, oh, I want nothing to do with Foggy. I want nothing to do with Carrot. My life as Matt is over. It's so fucked, too, because at different points throughout the season, he, like, drops in on Maggie and Karen and be like, oh, hey, guys, like, by the way, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
But I want nothing to do with you.
Hey, Foggy, I wanted you to know I'm alive, but I'm never speaking to you again.
It's so fun. Like, Matt's actually such a piece of shit friend.
He's such a fucking asshole baby in this season. Like, it's crazy.
But going back to Maggie, it is nice to at least have, like, someone in his corner.
Yeah, like one person.
Exactly, that he can at least bounce off of and convey to the viewer what he's feeling. For the first few episodes, she kind of, like, nurses him back to health.
Yeah, mentally and physically.
Yeah, we get some really great introspective moments with Daredevil where he's kind of relearning how to use his powers and how to be himself.
Once he gets back on his feet, I feel like this season really hits the ground running.
The thing that ends up getting him back in the game is the reintroduction of Fisk. They used him really sparingly in Season 2. Like, he didn't take the main spotlight as the villain, but he stood out and you knew that he was going to come back.
Absolutely. You knew that he was just laying, like, the breadcrumbs for his Season 3 return. He, in this season, in some ways, feels like the scariest that he's been in the entire show because like his influence is felt the most. Literally in every institution that we touch in the show, Fisk has a hand in it and has officials that are working for him. Like it feels like you're not safe with anyone.
And that's what's even scarier about it because you can't really take him down.
No.
Because he's already incarcerated. And we can't talk about Fisk without mentioning a really big standout character this season, Agent Nadim.
Yeah.
It's so fucked because he gets introduced in the series really wanting a promotion. He's like kind of the golden boy of the FBI department, but they refuse to give him a promotion because he's so financially in debt, funding his
Like sister-in-law's medical bills or something.
yeah, because she has cancer. The chief of the FBI department is basically like, I can't promote you because you're so financially in debt that it's a perfect in for like the mafia to try to corrupt you. So it's so frustrating because he's this really great agent, but he can't
Move up at all.
and Fisk takes like an eye to him, and he ends up cutting a deal with the FBI through Nadim, giving certain luxuries to him in exchange for insider information on various gangs throughout New York.
Yeah, he basically like moves himself from his prison cell to his fucking midtown luxury penthouse.
Exactly.
He's like on house arrest, like ooh, boo-hoo.
And it's super tragic too because Nadim wants to do the right thing.
Yeah, and he wants to take down Fisk. And when he brings the evidence that he's gathered against Fisk to his superiors, you find out that one of his superiors is working for Fisk and she kills the other one and basically blackmails Nadim into falling in line and becoming, you know, another one of Fisk's thousands of underlings.
Yeah, because he does not want to work for him whatsoever. And on that note, it's so fucked. The person that blackmails him is the exact superior that told him he couldn't be promoted because it could be possible corruption. And this fortunately does get Daredevil back in the game because, you know, his arch nemesis Fisk making his return on the scene. He's got to investigate.
He kind of forges like a Batman Gordon-esque partnership with Nadim too.
So hype when they like finally get on the same side.
It's awesome.
Like about the halfway point throughout the series.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nadim, we'll get back to him in a bit, but
he's one of the standouts of the season for sure.
definitely. Another part of Fisk's Grandmaster return from prison, setting up his comeback in the criminal world, is introducing another character in the show, Agent Poindexter.
This character stole the entire season for me.
Man, what a performance.
I know, and I'm so excited that he's going to be back in Daredevil Born Again as, spoiler, Bullseye.
Finally, because throughout this season, we don't actually get to see him adopt the Bullseye persona. Instead, he's corrupted by Fisk, manipulated to masquerade as Daredevil. Fisk is like, well, people aren't going to trust that I'm coming back and trying to help the police department, because obviously I'm not. And so I need to make a bigger bad for the police department and New York City to fear and hate. So he dresses Agent Poindexter. I say dresses like he puts on his, he ties his shoelaces.
Does his makeup.
Yeah. He gets Agent Poindexter into a Daredevil costume.
Basically has Poindexter go on a killing spree in Daredevil's name.
And can I just say, like, on a superficial level, why does the Daredevil costume fit him so perfectly?
Because, unfortunately, bro, Bullseye's actor has a superhero chin and Charlie Cox doesn't.
This might seem blasphemous. When I see him in the fit
He looks
on
better.
screen, he looks more comic accurate
Way more.
than Charlie Cox.
He does.
Yeah, it's
because
crazy.
his jaw fills out the mask.
Yeah, we get to see like a crazy origin story.
Yeah.
It's done so well artistically.
In black and white.
In black and white, yes, Fisk at a certain point gets his hands on all these records and files and audio tapes of Poindexter and his therapy sessions as a kid growing up, you know, where he has a therapist that actually treats his psychopathic tendencies.
Yeah. They depict it so expertly where as Fisk is listening to these tapes and reading these files, they depict it as him actually sitting in on those memories, like as if Fisk was there with young Poindexter.
And so we get like a lot of just creepy freaking backstory. You get to see that Poindexter in the present is fixated on this like one woman.
Yeah, and at first the way they depict it is like you think it's his girlfriend or like a girl he's like romantically interested in, but then you realize that like he's just stalking her.
Yeah, and Fisk manipulates that part of him.
Yeah.
And at a certain point ends up killing her.
Yeah.
In like a staged coup and making Poindexter basically go insane because he's so fixated on this one woman as like the light that will take him away from his psychopathic tendencies.
Yeah.
In the last few episodes, he ends up finding out that, you know, this girl was killed by Fisk and he's been being played this whole time and he wants to kill Fisk.
Yeah.
So we've been laying the groundwork for a lot of amazing characters that are introduced this season. Unfortunately, beloved characters like Karen and Foggy, who at this point know Matt's identity, they're kind of put on the back burner in a lot of ways.
It's not like they're put on the back burner in terms of the plot, but they're put on the back burner in terms of being Daredevil characters. Rarely ever had them interact with Matt. That's what you've been wanting to see. From the turmoil that they had in their friend group in season 2, you want them to finally get back together, and it just doesn't happen for like the whole season.
Yeah, and that's actually where one of our biggest cons come out, where essentially they recycle the same plot lines that we've been getting since season 1.
Yeah.
They do that again in season 2.
Once again in season 3. It feels tired.
It creates drama for the viewer and the viewing experience, but it also creates frustration. And like we said in our season 2 retrospective, it makes Matt so unlikable.
It really does.
It's cool that he's doing the lone vigilante thing throughout the season, but man, he's just like such an asshole. Like we mentioned it earlier, but there's this great moment where Matt comes back, you know, and confronts Foggy and tells him that he's alive. And Foggy's so excited, obviously.
Yeah, and he gives him a hug, and like Matt barely like hugs him back.
And then he's like, Foggy, this is like the last time we're seeing each other. And Foggy, rightly so, is just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can't just like die and then come back
and be like, you'll never see me again.
Yeah, like, fuck you. That's not your place. Like, and why would you even come back in the first place?
Literally.
I need you to stay out of it and leave it to me. No. You don't get to show up like this and say something like that and expect me to be cool with it. You're my best friend, asshole.
See, I was wrong to become your friend, Foggy.
What the hell is even that?
And so rightly so, you share that frustration with characters like Karen and Foggy, who are just like, dude, what are you doing?
They do eventually work together by the very end of the show and come back together as friends. But it's in like the last few minutes of the show, of the entire show, and it just feels like too little too late.
It's literally episode 13. It's the last episode of the season. They finally come back. We do get some good character moments with them, but it is something that you wish you could see more, the three of them actually working together. It's
brutal.
While Matt is working outside of the law to essentially grapple with if he should kill Fisk to solve all these problems or not.
Which he does come to that conclusion at one point. He's like, this is the only way out. I have to kill him.
Yeah. While he's figuring all that out, Foggy is working within the confines of the law to try to take down Fisk and prove that he's guilty.
Even running for district attorney of New York.
Yes, because he knows that he's getting targeted by Fisk. So he's like, you know what? Like, I need to get myself out in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Because if I'm murdered by Fisk, it basically proves his lack of innocence. Yep. He really steps into his own this season.
He deserves it for sure.
Actually, he steps into his own every season.
He does.
He's constantly just like daddying up.
He's forced to because Matt's a piece of shit and doesn't ever want to be a lawyer.
Definitely. So on the other side of this, Karen, we finally get an origin story episode where we get to see her in the past. All throughout season 1 and 2, it's kind of teased that, you know, she has this dark past. And so we get like a great flashback episode where we see her as a late teen. And it's revealed that Karen, in like a kind of DUI accident, gets into a car accident which kills her brother. And her father, after this instance, is basically just disowns her. That's one of the key standout moments for Karen throughout season 3, is getting that backstory fleshed out for her.
As with every season, Deborah Ann Wall gives a stand-up performance as Karen Page. She's incredible. And I'm so glad she's back for Born Again along with Foggy.
If they kill her in Born Again, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
Moving on.
The show wraps up with this big climax, and the silver bullet that takes down Fisk within the eyes of the law is Agent Nadeem. Knows that he's being targeted by Fisk, knows that he's going to be killed by Fisk, and records one last confession.
A damning confession that details every grimy thing that Fisk has been doing this entire season, and he's killed for it.
Yeah, killed by Poindexter.
Bro, he gets domed.
He actually does get domed. Inheriting that confession
and
helping the police department Corbin and Foggy get the evidence they need to put Fisk away. It's so freaking heartbreaking, man. But
It's cathartic, though.
it's cathartic and like solidifies Nadeem as like the ultimate hero this season.
He is.
Even more so than Daredevil. Like Daredevil, yes, he ends up physically taking down Fisk, you know, because he tries to make his escape when he knows that his whole master plan's going out the window.
Yeah, but Nadeem gave his life to take him down.
100%. What a freaking character.
Agreed.
So like we mentioned earlier, the big climax, you get this three-way battle between Fisk.
Daredevil and Poindexter.
At a certain point, Fisk like takes Poindexter and like crushes him against the edge of a wall.
Bro, he throws him back first into like a pillar corner.
Yeah.
Like, it's brutal.
Yeah, he gets absolutely broken in two. And keep in mind, that's with him wearing like a Kevlar reinforced like bodysuit.
Bro, if he wasn't wearing it, he would have wrapped around the pillar.
No, literally. It would have been like a fucking fatality, dude.
Literally.
But Daredevil, Matt, ends up having this great moment where
He beats the shit out of Fisk.
beats the shit out of Fisk, and he's like has his hands around his neck.
Yeah.
Charlie Cox does such a great job with his
Face.
and how his body's like trembling, trying to resist just snapping his neck in two. But he ends up just screaming and being like, I beat you. And he just screams in his face like, I beat you. And this is proof that if you come back from this, I will beat you every time.
Yeah.
And the final nail in the coffin to get Fisk to submit is he basically says like, look, I know that you've been running this empire with Vanessa. I can either take both of you down
Or just you. And I love it. I love Daredevil using Vanessa as his final trump card because it's such a Fisk move, using someone, the person closest to you that you care about, against you.
100%, yeah. So the season finally wraps up with Daredevil for like the third and hopefully final time.
Clinking like beers with like, we're friends again, yay.
Dude, I gotta say, if like all that shit happened, like it would just ruin a friendship.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any coming back from that.
Yeah,
Anything coming back from
Fuck
that.
you, Doug.
Yeah. But they do have this really great moment where they come together and they end up renaming their law company Nelson, Murdoch, and Page.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's nice too because it finally gives like Karen a lot of the credit that she deserves. Like all throughout season 1, 2, and 3,
She's doing like 75% of the work.
So it's nice to see them finally all on the same page yet again. Once again, please, dear Lord.
On the same page.
Karen Page on the same Karen Page.
And we get a nice little MCU style tease at the very end, teasing Bullseye.
Yes, you see him in the operating room.
Yes.
It's clear that they are setting up his return. And we get this great moment where his eyes open up during the surgery and you see the Bullseye symbol within his eye.
All I'm saying is we've seen set photos of his like proto Bullseye suit. Bro, if he doesn't get the actual Bullseye suit, I might lose it.
Agreed. So all in all, season 3, really, really good crime drama.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. We were talking about how we would rank them because they recycle the same plotline with Matt being like a piece of shit third time in a row.
And it takes like a bit of time for the show to hit the ground running, I feel.
Yeah, I think it's has a slightly lower score.
It's like an 8.5 for me.
An 8.5 to 9 for me.
Respect.
I think it's an incredible season. It has amazing themes of death and retribution.
Yeah, and salvation.
Introduces some amazing characters, like we mentioned, Maggie, Poindexter, Nadeem, and sets up some really exciting things that I hope they can fully capitalize on in Daredevil Born Again.
Yep.
This has been really fun looking back on Daredevil. What an amazing show. The Netflix era really got something special. All in all, this is still, to this day, the best live-action superhero show.
100%.
Guys, let us know what your thoughts are on this amazing trilogy of seasons.
And be sure to like the video, guys. It really helps us out. And we love you.
We love you dearly.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.